everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by to see what I have to share. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you. It's always fun to have you come back and to have a little visit and talk about my stitching. I wanted to start by thanking everybody for all of their wonderful comments on last month's video. And I actually wanted to just share a couple of points regarding that. So one of the fun things was there were, I think, a number of people that have just newly subscribed to my channel that discovered me over on the Stitch North Facebook page. And so a lot of you introduced yourselves in the comments, so that was really fun. And there's actually one viewer, hi Rachel, who is also attending the Hidden Stitchers Retreat, which is actually happening like in 10 days, I think. I'm so excited. So hi Rachel, and all of you others from Stitch North. I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody actually in real life. It's definitely time for a getaway for me. This will be the first time since COVID that I've had an opportunity to actually get away from home overnight and just have some fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that was great. So thank you everybody for doing that. And also for everybody else who played along. And I'll talk in a couple of minutes about some of the I had asked people to tell me what you like to drink when you were stitching, and I also asked people to, vote for what project they would like me to focus on in May, because in May for Stitch Mania, I'm going to do Monogamania and just work on one project, but we'll get to that in just a minute. A couple of our comments I just wanted to mention. My friend Gina, hi Gina. Gina has a Flosstube as well. It's called Hanging by a Thread, and I'll link that in the information box down below. But Gina had commented about, I had shared in my Whip Parade a project. It's a temperature cell done by Carolyn Manning Designs, and it's a project that I'd started last year. And I don't like to quit on things, but I wasn't enjoying stitching on it. I was finding it kind of confusing to stitch on. And I just decided I'm actually going to abandon that project. And Gina had a great suggestion. In fact, I'll put a picture of the project here. But Gina had mentioned that I could just finish that last row, end it there and turn it into a drum. So that was a great idea. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Thanks for that, Gina. I also wanted to mention Holly. Hi, Holly. Holly is a longtime viewer of mine, and she always has wonderful things to say and great information. And she had commented she liked the fact that when I was doing my whip parade, I was inserting numbers sort of as I was going along to keep track of how many whips that I had. And she had thought that because I have so many horse whips, I should have two lists. I should have like my horse whips and all the other whips. And I thought that was kind of funny. And I might keep that in mind, because next year maybe I'll play around with that idea a little bit and do something along that line. So, but Holly had also mentioned in reference to my temperature cell that she was doing one this year, and she got hers. It's from an Etsy shop called Christie's Corner. I believe that's what it is, but I will put a link to her shop down below. But she has a really cool temperature cell that is a bookshelf with books. And you've maybe seen, I know there's other Flosstubers. I know Gail Phillips, Gail's over in Australia. She's been doing that same temperature cell. And I was looking at it, and yeah, it looks quite nice because each month is a shelf. So it's really easy if you're, if you get behind, or, you wait for a week or whatever and then do the whole week at one time. It's a lot easier. Whereas the one I was trying to do, there was no set spot. So, I had to count every time I did it, like January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, to try and figure out where I was if I sort of stopped part way. So yeah, I thought that one looked quite fun. And it was kind of neat when I was looking at Christie's shop earlier today. I discovered another shop, and I'll link it down below. It's called Princess Pixel Stitches. And she had a really cool cat one that each day was a paw print, and so it looked like they were walking up the stitching. And I think from the description, it sounds like the big pad would be like the low temperature of the day, and then the little toe pads, the little toe beans would be the high temperature of the day. So that was really intriguing to me as well. So I'm going to check that one out, I think, a little bit too, but I'll link that one down below as well. So thank you very much, everybody who commented on last month's video. That was just really fun to interact with everybody in that way. So speaking of that, I'm going to just talk a little bit about some of those comments. For reference, I was doing a little giveaway in the last video, and this was the item I was giving away, an item that I've made, and I'm starting to make some of these for my Etsy shop. This is basically, this is a coaster where you would set your drink when you're drinking. So your glass or your mug is going to anchor it. And then this little felt pad is a place to put any of your thread ends or threads that you're currently working on so they don't scoot around on the table for you. You can even stick your needle in there and fold it over and throw it in your bag if you're taking some stitching with you. So this was my giveaway item. So I'd asked people if they wanted to be entered in the draw for the giveaway to use the word drink and tell me what their favorite drink was when they're stitching. So it was quite interesting. There was quite a wide variety of things, but the most common thing that people like to drink when they're stitching is tea. The next most common was coffee. And then we had water, Coke, and then wine and diet root beer were tied, with one person each for those. So I thought that was really interesting. I personally like to drink Diet Pepsi when I'm stitching, or water is the other item that I would probably drink. So that was fun to see everybody's votes for that. So the other thing I asked people to do to be entered in the drawing was to pick one of my whips, because I did a whip parade last video, that they felt they'd either like to see more stitching done on it, or they just wanted to, thought it was a good project for me to focus on for the month of May for Stitch Mania, where again, I'm going to do Monogamania and just focus on the one project. So the project that got the most votes was my Leonid Afromov piece that's been charted by Artisy, and it's called Walk with Dog, and I'll put a picture of what it looks like here. So that was the one that received the most votes, with 4 people voting for that. And then the next 2 were tied. So one was the Madame Chantilly Celebrate Christmas, and I'll put a picture here. And then the other one was my other Artisy full coverage piece called Spray Paint, and I'll put a picture there. Then those had 2 votes, and then there was 4 others with 1 vote. So Stallion had 1 vote, and the Heartstrings Santa Factory, the September Santa, had a vote. And then White Horse had a vote. And then Gifts for All Stocking had a vote. So I'm going to put it out there. If you still would like to vote on what project you'd like to see me focus on in May, then just leave a comment down below. What I'm going to do is create a wheel, a decision wheel, and so Walk with Dog, 4 people voted for that. So it has 4 slots on the decision wheel. And then Stallion, 1 person voted for that. So it'll have 1 slot on the decision wheel. So then, you know, just before May begins, I'll spin that wheel, and whichever one the wheel picks is the one I'll work on for the month of May. So yeah, if you want to get in on the voting and you see a particular project, or if you want to go back and check out that video where I show all of my whips, feel free to do that. You can leave a comment on that video. Obviously you won't be entered in the draw because that's already been accomplished, kind of thing, but you know, I'd certainly love to hear from you to help me make a decision of what I'm gonna stitch on in May. So speaking of the giveaway, I figure I might as well just throw that in right now. So I recorded a video a little while ago of using the random comment picker and picking my winners. So I will insert that video here. Okay, everybody, it's time to do the drawing for the winner for the giveaway from last month's video. So here is the video, and I've copied the URL. We're drawing for this handy little coaster thread combo item that I've made, and I'm starting to sell in my Etsy shop. And so let's go ahead and go to the random comment picker. So I put in the URL. The word I asked you to use was drink. So let's get the comments. So there's 11 comments. And let's see who our winner's going to be. Izzy Row Stitches, Felicia. Congratulations, you are the winner of last month's giveaway. So many pretty whips. I'm a Coke drinker or coffee. I loved all the horse whips, but my fave is the Madame Chantilly. So thank you everybody that played along. This has been a lot of fun. I hope to do some more giveaways in the future. But Felicia, I'm going to comment on your comment after I upload this video, and then if you want to get in contact with me, I'll put my email address in the description below the video, and send me a message so that I can get your contact info and get that sent out to you. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye. So that was great. That was fun. So congratulations, Felicia. I'm going to put my email in the drop-down box down below, and if you want to email me and contact me to provide me with your details, then I'll see about getting that sent out to you. And thank you everybody else for playing along. That was a lot of fun. So let's get into some stitching. So my statistics since I last saw you, which was I think the middle-ish part of January, I've worked on 8 projects since then. I've had 0 new starts. I've finished 2 projects, and I've fully finished 1 project. So let's start with my first project is my focus project. So if you're new here, kind of the way I've set up my stitching this year is every month I have 2 focus projects. One of those, what I call my focus project number 1, is my oldest whip. And it is going to stay focus project number 1 for as long as it takes to finish that project. So whether that's 2 months, 6 months, the whole year, that project is always going to be a focus project every month. And then I have a second focus project that is going to change from month to month. So I'll spin the wheel at the end of each month, and that'll be the focus project number 2. And those projects I work on during the week. So Monday to Friday, I sort of just pick 2 to 3 days per project, depending on how I'm feeling. And then on the weekends, I'll spin my decision wheel and just pick a random whip and work on it for Saturday and Sunday. So my focus project number 1 is the Northwind Stocking by Dimensions. It's a Dimensions Gold kit. It will look like this when it's finished. I'm stitching this on the kit fabric, which is an 18 count Aida, and I'm using all the kit threads for this. Are you ready? Here's who I am, look. So I have finished all of the stitches, like all the cross stitches, half stitches, and I'm ready to start doing the back stitching. I have done a little bit of back stitching. The letters, obviously in the name at the top, are partially back stitched. And this owl over here, I did back stitch him quite a long time ago when I first started this, just because there were so few stitches. It was just hard to figure out what he was going to look like. So, but yeah, so I'm really, really happy that I was able to get as much accomplished, and it is amazing how when you focus on a project, how much you can get done. So, so next step is to do the back stitching. I don't know if you can see, there is some sparkly stuff. There's some metallics. You can see sort of that goldy brassy color metallic, and actually some of the whites have a blending filament, so they sparkle too, but it never shows up very well in the video. But anyway, so that was very exciting. I stayed up late last night to finish the last little bit of stitching on the bottom there, just so I could show you. And I'm really excited to start the back stitching and watch it all come to sharpness. It looks pretty good even without the back stitching, I think, but it'll look that much better with the back stitching. So that was my focus project number 1. My focus project number 2 last year, I'm going to show you in a little bit, because last month, because I did pick a new focus project number 2 for the month of February, and that was my from the Joyful World series that I've been doing by Snowflower Diaries. It was the month of September, so that came up as my focus project. And it's not a huge project, so I was able to finish it actually within a couple of days. So that is it. That's the month of September. Snowflower Diaries, Joyful World Sal. I think I have 4 months left. Yeah. So that I finished fairly quickly. And this is a 28 count linen. It's just the stuff you get from Michael's. And it's just with all the DMC threads. I do sometimes change the odd little thing in these, just sometimes the colors or whatever. I think this one actually, I'll put a picture of what it looked like as it was charted. But there were a couple of birds, I think, up here that I don't know, I just wasn't sure if I liked how they looked, so I just put a few more of those little white flowers in there to balance it out a little bit. So when I finished that one, I had to pick a second focus project number 2 for the month of February. So when I did that, I came up with my Behind the Bit by White Willow Stitching. So it's going to look like that when it's finished, minus the wrinkly stuff on the photo. This is on an 18 count oatmeal Aida with the called for DMCs. Pardon my part threads. So I've got, I think, a couple of columns finished, or like 1.5 columns finished from where I was. The really fun and exciting thing is I did discover, I went to the White Willow Stitching website, and Jamie is actually offering all of their patterns as PDFs. And so I contacted them and asked if they were compatible with Pattern Keeper. And they emailed me back and said that, yeah, for the most part they are. Occasionally you have to put in, I think, some of your own colors. And so I purchased it because I'd just been working off a paper chart. And yeah, it works fine with Pattern Keeper. I just had to add in about, I think, 7 colors for some reason. They give you the symbols that don't have a color. You put the color number in and it magically puts them all in and looks great. So I'm stitching using Pattern Keeper. So that's why I've got those funny long lines. What I've been doing is just, if a color keeps going, I kind of go until where the color starts, even if it's outside of the column that I'm working in. So it looks a little bit funny, but I'm trying to avoid any obvious breaks between the columns. But so yeah, so I've gotten a bit done on that. I was hoping to get more done, but I've had some days I haven't been stitching this month. And yeah, I'm gonna put that aside to focus on trying to finish the Northwind stocking. So unfortunately, it's probably not going to get as much work as it would have. But it'll come up soon. It is one of my older whips, so I'm hoping it'll become my focus project number 1 in the near future, and then I can really start to power through it a little bit more and get some more done. So those are my focus projects. So then I had some weekend projects. So this first one actually was my focus project number 2 from January, which again, my video was in the middle. I think it was about the 19th of January. So I did work on this for the rest of the month a little bit. So I have done more since the last time that you saw it. So I know this is a really small picture, but this is Christmas Village by Sarah. I'm doing this on a 32 count lamb's wool linen with the called for DMC. Let's see if I can show this. So I actually finished this 3rd page here in the top. You see that sort of branch with the berries and the little robin on it. Then I came down to page 4 down here where that Santa with the presents is, and I just started down there. So yeah. So feeling good about what I accomplished on that last month. Can't wait to come back, hopefully, and work some more on that. So then one of my weekend projects was this heartstrings, the Santa Factory. I call this the September Santa. And I'm doing it on a piece of 32 count Picture This Plus Legacy with the called for DMC. And that's where I'm at. So I've done a little bit more on his coat. I haven't done his eyes yet, so I know he looks a little blind. Another weekend project that I worked on is White Horse, and I'll put a picture of what it's going to look like when it's done here. This is done on 18 count Ada with the called for DMC floss. Sorry, I struggle with the lighting. And again, lots of park threads. This one I'm also doing with Pattern Keeper. So yeah, some people will just stitch columns. The risk in doing that is you can sometimes get very faint lines where the column is. So when I first started stitching on behind the bit, when I was using the paper chart, I drew these staggered lines, and that's where I would stitch. But that is time consuming because you have to draw with a highlighter and draw the staggers, and if it's between pages, then you've got to figure out what this last little, stitch is. So in Pattern Keeper, I don't bother drawing the staggers, and I have just started with my full coverages. I still stitch in the column, but if at the edge of the column that particular color continues for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 stitches, I just carry on until it ends, because then I figure you'll never get that distinct break because nothing finishes at the same place. So I don't know if that makes sense. If you have questions, feel free to ask below. And then the last weekend project that I worked on was my DMC color chart. So I'll put a picture of what it's going to look like when it's done here. And there's where I got. So I just basically did one more column. So I did this sort of blues, teals. Yeah, so my goal is to complete this whole chart, and then I'm going to turn this piece of fabric into my own little DMC booklet, and then I can have it as a reference. And it's kind of nice because I actually have the actual stitched colors, so I know what they'll look like, because we all know sometimes when you see them on a bobbin, they look different when you actually stitch with them. So I thought that might be a nice reference to have. And I've mentioned before that I'm kind of reorganizing my floss. So this, as I stitch this, as I do each color, then I'm sort of rebobinating it and creating my master set of DMC. So yeah, so those are all of the projects that I've worked on since you last saw me. So my one finish was the Snowflower Diaries. My other finish that I haven't shown you is my Fuzzy Fox designs. I gave you a little peek into my last video, but that's going to be my small, for my smalls exchange for the Hidden Stitchers retreat. So I'm not going to show you the fully finished object right now. I was going to take some pictures so I could show you next time, but I realized I've actually wrapped it all up. It's all ready to go. So I didn't want to have to unwrap it and rewrap it. So I'm going to try at the retreat to take some pictures of it so that I can show you in the next video kind of what it looked like when it was done and how I finished it, kind of thing. So yeah, so the next thing I wanted to do, I don't usually do a lot of haul. I do sometimes combine sort of haul and happy mail, because when you get stuff, usually it comes in the mail and it's always fun. So I do have a few things that I was going to share with you today. So one thing that I did buy, and I was really happy. So this September Santa, you can see he's got that string of little red hearts. And this is a fairly old pattern, 1997. So I wasn't sure if I could still get them, but actually you can. They're just a Mill Hill glass treasure. So I was able to get those from 123 Stitch. You can see them in there. They're just little red hearts. So that's great. That feels good to have those, so I can actually fully finish that the way that it was intended. The other thing, I'm developing a little bit of a addiction to dimensions charts. I don't know why, I like the kits and everything's in there sort of thing. But I've also discovered, because I realize now I have 3 with artwork by Fred Swan. Ollie's supposed to be having a nap, but you can tell he's not napping. We'll see if he settles down. So the first one that I got is this Petites. It's called Quiet Night, and I just really liked, again, I really like his artwork. It just looks like really warm and inviting. And then I discovered this one. Also artwork by Fred Swan. Summer Cottage. Isn't that just idyllic? I love the colors, they're so bright and happy, and that would just be a little cottage I would love to hang out at. With 2 nice yellow labs, golden retrievers, take your pick. So those are going in my stash to be started at a later date. So one other happy mail item I wanted to share with you. I was most fortunate to be a winner in Dina's 6-year Flosstubers giveaway. Dina is half stitch, cross stitch. I met Dina at StitchCon 2019. We actually were table mates, and really enjoyed getting to know her and just hanging out with her and stitching and going out for meals, and we just had a really, really great time. And yeah, she's been doing Flosstube videos for 6 years now, and so she decided she wanted to do a big giveaway for all of her subscribers, and had some wonderful prize packages, and I was fortunate enough to be a winner of one of her prize packages. So what did I win? Dina sent it all in this cute little folder with a nice little note. Little dog that looks like Coco. So I won her Little House Needleworks series, Little Sheep Virtues. So it has all, I think, is it, I'm not even sure how many charts there are, so let's see. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so there's 12 charts, but that's not all, because Dina had done this, and I had seen this when I first got back into stitching. I'd seen it posted somewhere that somebody was stitching these little sheep virtues in a big rectangle, like, where's the picture? Like this, with this one from Country Cottage Needleworks, Sheep in the Meadow, in the center of it. And if you want to see this, Dina's stitched this already, so if you go and check out her video, I'll try and find the particular video where she shows it, and I'll link it down below. So yeah, I had seen this and thought, oh, I would love to do that someday, and now I can, because Dina so graciously and generously donated or passed the stash of all of these beautiful charts. So I'm like blown away. So thank you so much, Dina. I am so excited and look forward to starting this, hopefully not too far in the future. So yeah, I couldn't, you know, everybody says it, I never win anything. But look, I showed you not that long ago a chart that I won from Mel at Patchy Pony Stitcher as well. So I guess I do win things. So just enter those drawings, people. You just never know. You never know when your name's going to come up. So that's kind of all of my happy mail. I did want to show you another segment I often like to do in my videos is a future start, where I show you, I guess, kind of something from my stash. But it also is a way for me to kit up a project so that it is ready for me to technically start it. So rather than just showing you a chart or some odd threads, I've got it all ready to go, all kitted up, set aside to go. So my future start, pardon me, that I'm going to show you this month is another gift that I received from a kind friend, from my friend Nicole. Hi, Nicole. Nicole's Buckeye Stitcher here on Flosstube. And she sent me this Teresa Kogut Fox and Friend chart that I've been admiring for a while. Nicole's actually stitching this too. So she sent me the chart and the called for fabric, which is here, which Nicole was saying it wasn't as green as she thought it was going to be. It looks fairly green in this light. It is, again, a little bit darker. That's maybe more true of what the color looks like. The called for color is pear, Lakeside Linen Pear, which this is Lakeside Linen Pear, but it's just a little more, not quite, it doesn't look as bright a green as the green in the chart. It looks more brownish. And then Nicole also sent me all of the called for fancy flosses to go with it. And then part of it is DMCs, so I've kitted up the DMCs. Nicole did mention that it calls for onyx. Yeah. And the onyx is kind of more on the green side than the black. You can see that, but it does look fairly greenish, and it's for the fox's legs. So I think she had started stitching and then realized that his legs and his ear tips were going to be green. So I think she's changed it. Not sure if she said if she changed it to coal. But I'm going to see when I get stitching it. I might even just use 310, so I know that it's definitely black, because this even looks like it has a bit of purplish color in it, purple and gray, so we'll see. But so there's already for me to just pull out someday and start stitching on. So very exciting. Okay, let me check my list, see if I've forgotten anything. Piles and piles of stuff. So I think the next thing I just wanted to quickly mention, so then what my plans are. So since I'm so close to finishing North Wind stocking, I'm going to just focus on that for the rest of February. So I'm not going to work on my focus project number 2, which is behind the bit. I'm not going to draw a weekend project. I'm just going to backstitch on North Wind stocking, probably until I get it done. I'm hoping I can get it done by the end of February, but if I have to go into March, then I'll go into March. And then, you know, once March 1st comes, then I'll, you know, pick a new focus project 1, hopefully, and focus project number 2 for sure. So the other thing coming up, as I mentioned before, is the Hidden Stitchers Retreat, which is coming up on March the 4th. It's hosted by Jenny McStitcher. Jenny has a Flosstube channel, and it's been a long time coming. Jenny originally planned this for April of 2020. So we've had a couple of dates that have had to be postponed or rescheduled. So we're really excited. Hopefully nothing happens between now and a week from Friday, which is when we go. And we'll all be able to get together and do some stitching together and just have a nice time away. So the last 2 things I'm going to share are a brief shop update. I have an Etsy shop. If you're new here, the link is listed down below. No pressure. I just do it for fun. I'm retired. I like to sew. So, but sometimes I think people are interested to see what's available out there. So I'm going to show you a couple things from my shop that are going to be going up there soon. And then my last segment I usually do is a craft from the past. So if those are things that don't interest you, that's it for the stitching, and that's fine if you want to sign out, and I'll see you next time. But if you're curious about seeing those other things, then stick around and I'll share them with you. So, things from my shop. So I told you a little bit that I was trying making these little coasters, and this was something that I just originally made for myself because I was finding I usually use a coaster with my drink, but then I was finding I was just setting my threads on my table, and yeah, you reach across with your sweater on, the next thing you know, where did those thread ends go? And then they're on the floor and the cat's trying to eat them or just whatever. So I made one of these for myself, just because it was something functional that I felt that I might work for me, and I really enjoy it. I use it all the time because I pretty much always have a drink when I'm stitching, and again, it's just a great place to settle those tail ends. Or I even put a little needle minder on mine so I can set my needle on there, or sometimes I'll stick my needle in it, or if I'm not stitching for a bit, I'll just fold it up and stick it in the drawer so I don't have to worry about the dog or the cat getting into it. But I've been playing around a little bit this week, making some, this one I made with a whole bunch of scraps, but these ones I've just been making with some new fabrics that I have purchased. So basically just sort of 3 colors from the fabric line, and then I've just done sort of this little square quilting just to make it interesting. I think it looks cool, and just to tack the layers together a little bit better. And then again, this side has the white felt there to stick stuff in. So there was that one that I've made, and then there's this one that I've made. So I'm hoping to have more of those in the shop in the future. So yeah, I'm really drawn to, I don't even know what to call it. Please forgive me because I'm not a quilter. I'm kind of like a self-taught person, but I like taking little squares of fabric and putting them together in combinations and creating things. So I don't know if that's called patchwork. I don't know if you just call it quilting. I'm not sure. But whatever it's called, I seem to like doing it, and it brings me joy. So I've been gravitating towards doing that more, and whether that's going to become a little bit of my thing that I do or my niche, I'm not sure. I know a lot of people make the vinyl front project bags, so there's lots of people that do that out there. So maybe this is something I can do that's a little bit different. So just again, so this is where I started, is making these vinyl front project bags. And like I said, a lot of people make them where there's just a solid piece of fabric on the back, the vinyl on the front, with your zipper, you know, and they're clear so you can see what's in there. So I have some of these in my shop right now, but then I started making non-vinyl front, in case there's people that aren't interested in the vinyl front ones. And so I started making some of these patchwork ones. So this is one that I've made recently with some fabrics that I bought, kind of like my subtle take on a patriotic bag with the red, blue, and off-white. And then inside, it just has this sort of off-white with a floral. So that's a bag that's going to be going up in there. So then I started thinking, well, maybe people like vinyl front bags, but they also like patchwork. So I decided to make a hybrid bag. And I have done this before in my shop, but I've just refined it a little bit and changed things a little bit. So these are the bags. So this is the vinyl. You can see the vinyl there, right? So I open it up. It's vinyl. So it's a vinyl front, but it's got the patchwork inside. So the original ones of these I made, I used bigger squares, but I like these 2-inch squares better. And the original ones I made had a solid panel fabric on the back, but I've decided now to also make the squares on the back. Sorry, there's no threads there. Partially because it's fun, partially because it's different. And partially because although this is pretty, once you put your pattern and stuff in there, you don't really see it that much. So I thought it'd be fun if you could see it from both sides. So these are a little bit bigger than my standard bags. So there's the difference. They're almost like 1 inch all the way around. So these ones easily will fit. I'm pretty sure a 10-inch hoop will fit in here, but an 8-inch hoop will definitely fit in here. An 8x8 Q-snap will fit in here. You know, an 8.5 by 11 pattern will fit in here. In this one, an 8 by 11 Q-snap will fit in here. An 11 by 11 might if you don't have a lot of fabric on it. And then obviously a 10-inch hoop or whatever will fit in here. So it's just a little bit bigger, a little bit roomier. And then I have one more that I've made with the Anne of Green Gables fabrics with the greens and purples. So then I had a customer contact me on Etsy. I haven't asked permission to use her name, so I'm not going to. But she had asked me if I could make basically a miniature version of my vinyl front bags to use for, you know, for her scissors or her floss or whatever. And she kind of wanted a square version. So I went ahead and made one for her, and she liked it. And it was fun and super cute, so I decided to make some more just in case anybody else was interested in something like that. So here we go. So this is basically exactly the same as the big one, just a little bit smaller. So these are 1.5 inch squares. I've done the same thing. They're on the back and the front with the zipper, with the vinyl. And I use these little dog buttons for my zipper pulls. So I've got that one, this one, that one, this one. And then, again, because I was just having fun making miniature things, I made miniature ones like this. So these are like miniatures of the big bag. So again, these big ones I usually make with a solid piece of fabric in the back, which I've kind of quilted little squares on the back. This little guy is squares on front and back. Again, just using up smaller pieces. Then inside is just a white fabric with stars. So then I have this guy. That fabric on the inside. And this one. That fabric on the inside. Ollie, are you getting impatient? I know. Mommy's been talking for a long time, hasn't she? So those are some items that are going to be in my shop. I'm not going to list them yet. I am going to the Hidden Stitchers retreat, so I'm going to take some of these new things that I've made just for people to see in real life, and then after the retreat I will put them up in the shop. So also, just in case you're wondering, I am going to put my shop on holiday for that weekend because I am taking some of my inventory with me. So rather than running into conflict with somebody buying it online and somebody buying it in person, I'll just close the shop for the few days while I'm gone and then reopen it when I get back again and list the stuff that I have to sell. But anyway, if anybody has any questions about that, let me know. But look for those to be showing up in the shop soon and in the future, because I'm going to keep making them because I enjoy sewing those. So my last thing I'm going to share is my craft from the past. I've been doing this since I started making videos, and I'm running out of crafts. Most of what I have that I can find or think of now is basically just paper crafts. I did have like some knitting and some other sewing projects and stuff in the past, but most of those I've kind of done. So I may phase this out at some point, but for now I'll show you the odd paper craft. So So this one that I'm going to show you, it's in scrapbook form right now, but when I originally made it, it was a calendar that I made, that I gave to my dad for Christmas one year. We had to move him into a nursing home because my mom couldn't care for him at home anymore. And he had Parkinson's, and his memory wasn't good anymore. And this wasn't my idea originally. I had read about it somewhere, about I think somebody that made a scrapbook of their family members and that, and took it to the nursing home. And that way the support workers could see it, and you know, it would, I guess they might recognize family members then when they came in if they'd seen them in the scrapbook, or it would give them something to talk with the resident about, or even for, you know, the resident themselves, something to look at again to remind them of the people in their life. So I had done mine as a calendar. I called it All About Our Family, and I featured different family members. I tried to tie them to the month that their birthday was in, but that didn't always work. And I just tried to have about 3 pictures of each person. One, a fairly current picture. One, maybe when they were younger, if I had access to that. And one, maybe showing them doing an activity that they enjoyed. And then I actually asked each family member, I gave them a set of a few questions, like, you know, your full name, your birth date, your favorite color, your favorite food, the favorite place you've been, a place you'd like to go, and your hobbies. And I just thought that was a fun way for, again, my dad to maybe be reminded of each person, or even again for the staff at the home to get to know the people in my dad's family. And again, these would hang there then for a month until the next month came along. So, and then there were some months where nobody had a birthday, or where I put you know, a different sort of layout. So this first one, this was for January, and so I did my mom and dad because their wedding anniversary was in January, and I just had some old pictures of my mom and dad when they were married, when they're, you know, were quite young. And that's my brother and my sister. I wasn't born yet, in that picture at the top. And then this is my brother-in-law and my sister. That's my mom. Her birthday was in March. Those are my 2 daughters when they're little. Those are my brother's 3 boys when they were little. This is my sister-in-law, Patty. My brother, Patty, does a lot of yoga. That's me when I was little, when my kids were little. There's me, probably when I was 7, no front teeth. My youngest daughter. This was when I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so all of these papers were like from Stampin' Up! And there's my older daughter. There's my dad. There's my husband. He's a big golfer. There's my sister. There's my brother. And then there wasn't enough pages to do everybody, so this has some pictures of my nephews, my brother's little boys. Oh, there's a picture of my first Whippet. That's Rudy, and that was my sister's Doberman that she had. Grandkids and furry friends. And I think that's all. So yeah, so once the year was over, once my dad had passed away, then I just took those pages and, or that calendar, and took the pages off and put them in an album so they were all together. So yeah, it's even a fun thing for us to have to look through, and really interesting again. I found it really interesting to hear people's answers to the questions of where they'd like to go. So yeah, it was kind of a fun thing. Anyway, thank you everybody for sticking around. I know that was a little bit longer video, and I will throw in some pictures of Ollie at the end if you want to see how much he's grown or how big he's gotten. And yeah, until next time, I'll see you later. Bye. Okay, give it to mommy. Wait, ready?